Aaron Judge is a better version of Brock Lesnar.
What is something you love as much as the Charmin Bears love wiping?
As an opposing fan, you'd probably see his face and want to sock him between the cracks.
Hello and welcome everyone to Losses Above Replacement, the best baseball podcast to grace your ears. I'm today's host, Alex Clark, joined as always by our very own Home Run Derby participants in Matthias Altman Kurosaki and Ryan Splash Potts. My main men on this very, very hot summer's day. How are you all doing?
It's actually not terribly hot here, probably because we had a lot of rain the last 2 days. Other than that, I mean, there's apparently baseball going on. I'm not very familiar with it. I'm sort of kicking myself for not going to this parade last week, but I don't know. I also am sort of kicking myself because I'm not in Santa Barbara right now with the rest of my family. Not with the rest of my family, but with my parents and my sister. You know, when you have a heavy travel schedule, sometimes you do have to sacrifice some trips. My nephew's first birthday is tomorrow. I unfortunately am not out there celebrating, but you know, that means it's me and hanging out with the cats and checking on my sister's cat too. So I'm on like double cat duty. So yeah.
We do need to get Ponko on stream at one point.
Oh yeah. Well, you know, we're going to have a 2-month stretch from August to October where it's literally just going to be me and the cats at home. So I'm sure we'll get a Punko appearance at some point.
We need to have both Ponko and Gigi on the podcast at some point at the same time, just because I think that would be funny.
Oh, yeah.
Does that mean I have to go home and convince one of my dad's 3 cats to join the podcast?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. And
okay.
then it's just going to be cats above replacement.
Yes.
Yeah, we're gonna let them do the show instead.
The cats,
we should do. I don't know if you guys follow the podcast that Tim Kirkchin does with his son, but they do like an all Tim team. So they have a topic like a father-son team, or this week was the summer team. They should do like a pets team or a cats team.
Ooh, that'd be fun. Matilda is the closer.
Matilda, I think would have to be. Yeah.
All I can think of is a Calico, and like there's not a player named like Calico Smith or something. So
I wish. Okay.
Yeah. There also isn't a player that's name is anything close to American short hair.
I mean, it'd be like that.
It sounds like a horse's name.
Baseball, like Max said, doesn't exist. It's not a real sport. The World Cup has been lit, besides when Argentina plays, which disappoints me. But my glorious Professor Congo, they did concede and lost to Colombia last night, so that was unfortunate. But they held Ronaldo scoreless, so I guess that's the greatest achievement. It is good to see the DR Congo has a super fan that like stands and like has his hand up like a wave the entire match, and he got his visa so he could go to the second match. So that's really cool.
Pretty dope. Yeah.
So he just stands the entire game. And it's based on a statue in Kinshasa. I think the statue was torn down, but I think George Washington for the Democratic Republic of the Congo, that's what he's emulating. So that's really cool. And I love those sort of stories about the World Cup.
Definitely.
Also, fellas, this is not the question of the day. I have that for later. Should I buy a Cabo Verde flag?
No.
I mean, it does look pretty sick. I'm not going to say no.
It does.
But I do want to shout out all the soccer fans who've been going to baseball games.
True.
It's actually it looks pretty. It looks pretty awesome. It looks like they're having a grand old time regardless of the score, which is awesome.
Before US versus Australia, there was a lot of Australians in in
Seattle.
Here, yeah. By the way, hey XYZ Ball, good to see you. Giants better than the Barbs, yeah, right now. And that double bet saying what's good to see y'all here. But one of the funniest parts that came from it was, do you guys know what a shoey is?
Yes.
Yeah, so people were doing shoeys in the stands.
Very normal.
Here, and So one of the Mariners commentators, Ryan Roland-Smith, is Australian here, and so people were asking, "What are they doing?" And he goes, "Oh, it's a shoey." And they made a bet basically on what was like between. It wasn't a bet that was actually held to any scrutiny, to what I know, but it was going to be if the U.S. won, then I think it was Ryan Roland-Smith would have to go and be part of the tarps off for a bit. But if Australia won, then Brad Adam would have to do a shoey. And I cannot believe that is a real sentence that has come out of my mouth.
I just looked up what a shoey was, and I am disgusted.
Yeah. Look, legitimately.
Very normal stuff, man.
It's Australia. What do you expect?
I can't get behind that. Get behind
the shoey, or that Australians do weird stuff?
The shoey. I support Australians. I do not support the shoey. I support Bluey, though.
Bluey is awesome.
Bluey is great. There's I've read a story or watched a story. They had like a cricket episode, and you'd think, oh, they get like when they do the sound design, they actually got cricket bats and whatnot and went to a real field. But because it's for kids and kids wouldn't be playing with wood bats, they actually got hollow plastic bats like kids would play with. And I thought that was so cool and so wholesome and so fitting that you could like cater to your audience rather than just get like generic cricket sounds.
So I do not endorse Vegemite, by the way. I hear that.
Yep.
I've heard that not even Australians really like Vegemite.
It's a meme at this point. Like it has become legitimately an inside meme within the entire country. Some people will swear by it. Some people say that it is the worst thing ever, and most people will just say, "Yeah, we just say it for the funnies at this point."
I just know that there's a line from
it tastes like earwax.
Yep, I've had
exactly.
It just was the worst.
Well, there's a line from the song "Down Under" by Men at Work. He just smiled and gave me a Vegemite sandwich. I'm like, would you want to eat a Vegemite sandwich?
No, I haven't. It is not good.
Yeah, no, I don't think I'm doing it.
See it like as like a. I think that it's an acquired taste. So that's one thing. But like a smidge on a piece of toast with butter, I could maybe see that. And then like you progress as you age, I guess. It's sort of like going from like a iced coffee to like straight black coffee as you age, I guess. I don't know.
I still drink my coffee with milk in it, but okay.
It'd be like that. But maybe when you're 80, I don't know.
Yeah. I think my grandmother used to drink used to drink black coffee. So
like my grandmother drinks like unsweetened iced tea. I don't like sweet tea in general, or I don't like tea in general, besides boba, of course. But she drinks unsweetened iced tea.
Unsweetened, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, my family. I like unsweetened iced tea. I think it's good. I prefer sweetened personally, but
ick.
I like sweet tea. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, it depends, right? Yeah. Like I don't drink it as much anymore just because of the sugar content here. But I will say unsweetened iced tea, there's like a level that really does just hit. There's times where it's like that will be the best thing to quench a thirst, will be unsweetened iced tea. But something that will not be quenched, unfortunately, anytime soon will be the rumors between the MLB and the MLBPA when it comes to the CBA that is going to expire on December 1st. So, what do I mean by that? Well, for those of you that have been in the know and have been paying attention with it, with the CBA expiring soon, that means that a new one has to be made. It has to be ready to go before next baseball season. And if there is not, there's a very real chance that we do not have baseball in the year 2027, which that would suck. That would I know that we joke saying that, baseball is not a real sport or anything like that. I can speak for all of us when it would say it would suck if we did not have baseball next year. That would be horrid here. So what's been going on right now is that both sides have come to the table with a proposal, which is good. That means that we finally at least get to see where both sides are starting at here. And mind you, there is still 6 months before the current CBA itself expires. But when you look at the things that both sides are proposing, you start to get a little bit worried because they are far apart on a lot of things here. So, fellas, before we get into the nitty-gritty of all of it, when you guys first saw, I don't know if you guys have seen all the details about all the proposals and all that. I don't think any of us have the time to read through everything here, but we can see the main points here. What is one that we're like, oh, that's the deal breaker? Because for me, there's a couple.
So I just want to throw it out there that I am not concerned that we lose any time in 2027. I think we're going to avoid that. I think financially getting a TV contract is the most important thing. And if you siphon off the money, that's what's going to cause both the owners and players to shake in their boots. If you say, all right, no games, no money for anyone, that's a problem that both sides are going to avoid. Maybe there's some, there's going to be a lockout. That I'm 100% certain they're not going to get a CBA deal done before the current one expires. That's just semantics, though. I don't think we're going to miss any time. Maybe worst case, it's like the 2022 season that you delay the start by 2 weeks and then you plug those games in at the end of the season. I guess, but I'm under. I have no worry that we will miss time next year. Now, in a couple years, when the new CBA following this CBA, yeah, that one's a bloodbath, and we could genuinely miss time. That could be atrocious. I will say, I think it's encouraging that both sides have taken a stance here, and I don't think anything either the players have thrown out there or the owners have thrown out there will be in the final proposal. I think exactly 0 things either one has pitched will be in the proposal. Now, there will be adjustments made on these, so numbers will change. So, for example, the draft, maybe they shorten the draft to 18 rounds. They're not shortening it to 12. They're not taking high schoolers out of the draft. They're not doing that. Maybe there's an international draft, maybe, but it's not going to be the format that the owners laid out. And there's not going to be a salary cap at that exact dollar figure. There's not going to be a salary floor at that exact dollar figure. So some of it is just posturing, and some of it is June 24th as we speak today. But in terms of one thing that I think is going to be a sticking point, I think it is going to be the international draft. We see like teams are signing players like to pre-contracts when they're 12, 13, 14 years old. That seems weird. Teams are always trying to maneuver. They can spend a little bit more than their bonus pool, like up to 5%, and nothing happens. And it's a weird process. I think Major League Baseball needs to figure out the process. And I think the system is broken. The fix is broken. So I don't know what the end result will be, but I think that's going to be a sticking point on both sides. And it's just a way for owners to say, oh, we want you to make less money. So while I am in support of an international draft and okay, it sounds great that they can join it at 18, then you're pushing the like Juan Soto's of the world back. Now, Juan Soto is a 1 out of a billion shot, $765 million contract. But think about the next Soto, or if Soto came through this system, he's maybe not debuting until 20 or 21 as opposed to 19. And he's getting paid at 27 or 28, not 25, 26. So that's the upshot there is you want to reduce costs of these players over time.
And I'm going to second what Splash said about the whole like missing a full season. I agree that I think it's going to be more like 2022, not like 1994. I mean, I can only imagine how much damage to the sport a strike would do. Like what happened in 94, you have no postseason, no World Series. And then, you've work stoppage from, I think it was like August 13th until April, or the regular season didn't start until April 30th. And they just played without those games. They played 144 games. There was some risk of a full like lost season in 2020 during the COVID pandemic. And they were able to get in 60 games, which ultimately, I don't know if that was the wisest thing, but I think that it'll probably be more like 2022, where you have this stoppage, you get to early mid-March, you figure something out, you start the season a week later. So, but to your point about the international draft, I'm not exactly sure how it would work. In terms of like how many picks people get and all that. I understand that the current system is kind of weird. To your point, Splash, there are players who they're negotiating stuff starting, I don't know, they're 13 years old, which is kind of ridiculous. And you got players who are considered like late signings, and they're like in their 20, 21 year range, but in the MLB draft, it is normal for you to get drafted in your early 20s. But for international free agents, it is standard that by the time you turn 16, you have an agreement with a team. So this international draft, if it happens, who knows what it'll look like. I don't know how many picks each team would get. The whole MLB draft thing, I think, is also a sticking point here. I think it'd be kind of ridiculous to just kick high schoolers out of the draft. I mean, think of how many kids there are who by the time they're like 14, 15 years old know they're going to be professional baseball players. And you're going to tell them, hey, sorry, you can't enter the draft when you're 18. You have to wait until you're 20. Look, I think college baseball would benefit greatly from this. But here's the thing. If you know you're going to be a professional athlete that young and you know you're that talented, what's the point of going to college for 2 years? When you're a student athlete, you have to maintain your eligibility and all that. You got to keep your GPA over a certain level, which obviously I'm all for, caring about academics. I mean, I was a student athlete myself, but if you're, like I said, if you are one of those guys who you're dead set on being a professional athlete, you're good enough to be a professional athlete, what's the point of going to class for 2 years? So I think you have to keep high schoolers in the draft. It's a better opportunity for them, for their families. I mean, look at Colt Emerson, perfect example. He's 20 years old. He already has a 9-figure deal. He was up, or Connor Griffin, he came up before he turned 20. Now you're saying to those guys, hey, you have to wait 2 more years. I'm strongly against that, but I do have faith that in some way, shape, or form, this will get ironed out and there will be a 2027 season at some point.
So I do want to add to your point with the keeping high school players in the draft. This is a case that the owners want to, as always, reduce the cost of the baseball team, reduce the cost of the franchise, reduce the cost of having minor league affiliates. So Connor Griffin, instead of playing for the Altoona Curve, could have been at LSU. And if you're Bob Nutting, you're like, well, I would love for Connor Griffin to not be paid or not be, a part of my organization. And he's at LSU, playing baseball there, as opposed to costing me money, having to have a team in Altoona or having a team in Indianapolis or having a team in Bradenton, wherever they play. So that's why the owners would want that side of the deal. And I think we have to acknowledge, what is the point of college baseball? It is not to make the best MLB players. That maybe that's a side effect, but that's not the point, right? We see some of the most absurd and ridiculous, pitching that you'll ever see in College World Series scenario or these elimination game scenarios, that guys are throwing more pitches than they would in an MLB game. And it's just not you're not necessarily training guys to be the best big league players. You are trying to win championships at the collegiate level. And it's no different than playing in an AAU league or playing in a little league or a high school league, that your goal is to win. That's the first goal. Your coach is going to get fired if you lose a bunch, not development. But at the minor league level, I'll use the Braves as an example. The Atlanta Braves, do not care what the record of the Gwinnett Stripers is at the end of the season. They care that they got development from their players. They care that Didi Fuentes is pitching at the big league level. The low A Braves do not care that Eric Hartman is in high A now. They are happy for Eric Hartman that he is in high A now. You want to see progression through the system because it is a system. But if you have Connor Griffin going to LSU or Mississippi State or wherever, the goal is not to say, oh, Connor Griffin, you're going to be the number 1 pick in a couple years. The goal is, we want to win a national championship. If you start 0 for 20, we're going to find someone else to play shortstop. We're going to find someone else. So that's an important sticking point, that you have to have that pathway. And unlike college football and college basketball, those are the top of the development tiers. Sorry to the G League now. That's not a real, it exists, but it's not as in-depth as the minor league system that's been around for over a century. So that's why the NFL to college, that functions, and the NBA and college basketball, that functions, but college baseball is not the same thing, because there is a separate development specific track that high school players and international players can go through that is most of the time better than you would do in college.
Yeah. I'll get my piece on all this here. And again, we'll make sure we get this here overall with the CBA. But especially when it comes to like the international players and the high schoolers, I'll start with the international side. I don't like the idea of an international draft. And it does not have anything to do with like player fairness or team fairness or anything like that. For me, the reason why I don't like it is that a lot of people in these areas here, like say the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico and all these other areas here, baseball is a way of life that starts when you are very, very young. You're very young, right? And a lot of times when you are signing these agreements here with teams, it's not just to play ball. Here, you're signing that agreement and you are getting top of the level education here that normally you would not be able to get. You were also getting paid here to then, which will then in turn help your family here, which maybe the family doesn't have a whole lot of money either here. And I like that ability to where, you know, these kids that have that ability here, yeah, they could start providing. They can start providing for their families while still getting here a high level education to still not just be a good ball player, but to be a good human, to be a smart human on top of it here. And that's, again, that's something that's always going to come down to a level of contention for me. As for the high school players, I'm also not a fan of the idea of taking high schoolers out of the draft here. And it's, for me, it's not even about the why make them go to school here and all this. For me, it's just the wasted time here. The time of like, okay, you had 2 years that you could have been playing against professional level players here. Instead, you're having to play against collegiate level players here. And there is a difference. There's a very big difference between, you know, a college level player and say even a single A player. Like and during that time here, a player's development here is going to get better when you play against better competition here. Like, you can't tell me that you're going to get better at a video game here only playing against the easy difficulty. You're going to figure out a bunch of stuff. You're going to learn how to play the game. But the moment that you go to the hard difficulty, you're going to get your butt whooped. And that's something that I think holds very true here for like these high school athletes here. If they have shown that they are good enough here to go straight into professional ball, then what's the issue here? If you have shown that you can do this, I would rather, especially as a team, rather have that development here be done within our system, done with our coaching to get them to be the player that we know that they can be here, as well as competing against higher level talents. But that's also not to discourage, you know, players that are in college. There are a lot of amazing players right now in the MLB that did go the college route. Paul Skeens, one of them. Right now, the best pitcher in baseball, arguably. Here, again, one of the best pitchers in the Mariners system, Kate Anderson, is from LSU. Like, this is not to discourage and say the college level is not at the same level as professional. It's just kind of different here because the amount of good players is different here. The amount of professional level players is very different here. This 156 pitches. I would be more concerned if I was a team seeing, you know, this pitcher that we're looking at drafting. What do you mean you're making him throw 156 pitches? What do you mean? You're going to make his shoulder fall off here. So,
or the kid from UNC this weekend. I mean, Caden Glauber. I mean, 65 pitches, you know, out of the bullpen. The next day you try to bring him back. I mean, that's just probably not the smartest thing to do.
Oh my God, no, not at all. In fact, you're going to die.
I was worried about Tommy John. I was worried about Paul Skeens because I remember LSU had him throwing like 125 pitches every start, and then, you know, obviously he was fine. He was ready to go by the time that, you know, he got drafted. And I remember there was talk during the LSU clincher over UF that year that they were going to bring Skeens in just to pitch the last inning, and then luckily LSU was up like 18-2. They did not bring him in just for the sake of it, because that would have been really, really stupid.
Let another young pitcher throw at that point.
Exactly. Also, I mean, to add on to the number of things that are different about college and pro baseball, they use metal bats in college baseball.
This is very true. They use trees.
Yeah, I mean, what? I don't know. I think college baseball can be pretty fun to watch, and I think it'd be
imagine
cool,
if college baseball let them use like the hype fire bats, like the drop.
Oh my God, dude!
Imagine the amount of just pure offense that you would see in these games.
And this is why you have to go play in the Cape League over the summers, guys.
Absolutely.
So
I did get to talk. Okay, yeah, go for it, Splash. But I still have things to talk about when it comes to the actual proposals.
Sure. So I popped up that from Stanford. That's Quinn Matthews. He's the number 6 prospect in St. Louis's system. He's pitching in Memphis right now. If you are the St. Louis Cardinals, I mean, I guess it's nice that you know the guy can throw 150 pitches, or there's sort of like soft factors that, oh, he's a gamer, you know, he does anything for the team. Like there's factors like that. But from a, you know, the St. Louis Cardinals trying to win the World Series perspective, that's not what you want to see. So in an alternate universe that Quinn Matthews is a high school pick by the Cardinals, he may have been, I'm not 100% familiar with Quinn Matthews, but alternate universe, he's in like low A with the Cardinals or rookie ball with the Cardinals, and he's not throwing 156 pitches. And better yet, Chaim Bloom, who was in the organizational back in 2023, not the point, the Cardinals could say, all right, we want you to develop in this specific way. And that's, I guess, one thing with minor league baseball. We don't know what the guys are working on. We don't know if, you know, someone has a specific number of curveballs they have to throw, or if the Braves are notorious for saying you have to ditch your best pitch. You're not allowed to throw your best pitch your first year, your first 2 years in the org. Then after that, once you've built up the other repertoire, then you introduce back in, you know, the splitter that Hurston Waldrop throws, or the curveball, or the slider, whatever pitch. So you don't know. Well, at college, the goal is to win the game. Like, is Quinn Matthews on his 156th pitch, is that pitch going to be better than some random reliever who is going to be an accountant in 2 years? Probably. You know, Quinn Matthews is going to be in Major League Baseball probably next season, maybe at the end of this year. I don't know. But he's going to be a major leaguer pretty soon. You know, random bozo reliever, with all due respect, he's going to be an accountant. He's probably not throwing 95. So there's that.
Yeah. And that's something that honestly, that's something that I like teams having the ability to work with here. The fact that if you're a team owner, if you are a team GM here, I feel like it's more advantageous to get to pick what my player is doing to train and to get ready for the major leagues, which at that point kind of goes against what the MLB proposal is saying of eliminating high school players from the draft, because then now you have 2 years of development time that is gone here from your players. So that's going to be a different point here. I'm going to go back to something that we started out here with, and that is the validity of what could happen in 2027 here from this. And I'm going to be real. I feel a little bit more nervous about this than you guys do. And I think that really comes down to, I think the biggest step with this is the thing that we've been talking about for a while now here, and that is the proposed salary floor / salary cap here. And because legitimately that is something that will be completely game-changing here, and that is something that legitimately, 1 second, something fell here. There we go. We're good. That is something that could legitimately change the entire scope of Major League Baseball. And right now, both sides have made it very, very clear what they want from it and what they are looking from it here. And to give an example here, well, actually not an example, I'll just outright read it here. For the MLB, they do not have, looking at this here, they have proposed a hard salary cap of $245.3 million and a hard floor of $171.2 million. Whereas the MLBPA has said something a little bit differently. I'm looking at the stuff right here, and actually doesn't have any of that here, as far as I know, unless you guys have better information than I do, which is extremely possible.
They don't want a salary cap.
Yeah, why would they? Why would they want a salary cap? That just means that the players make less money.
Greatly. Yeah,
exactly. But that's kind of the point here, is that baseball is the one of the main major sports that does not involve a salary cap in some way, shape, or form here, and that has brought up a lot of contention here. It's one of the reasons why you'll see contracts, say for Patrick Mahomes in the NFL, still very, very high here, right? Is it Shohei Ohtani $70 million a year? No, it can't. You're not going to be able to see that here. And that's something that, again, owners have already said we do not want. But at the same time, how would you implement a salary cap? Because right now, that number for where it's at right now is way too low. Like, legitimately, that's going to need to be raised, especially when you're going to see more and more players get bigger and bigger deals. And on top of it, it's also going to increase the amount of times that we're going to see deferred contracts unless that also gets addressed and, for lack of a better term, patched. Because right now, that is, I'm using so many gaming terms here, but it's the meta right now. Look at the Dodgers. The Dodgers have put in so much money in deferred contracts, and they are by far the best team in Major League Baseball. Like, I'm sorry, you look at the talent, they are the best team. And why is that? How can they afford to have Shohei Ohtani, Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, here, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, all these players? How could they afford that? Something called deferred contracts. Because that $70 million that I just talked about with Ohtani, he's actually only making $2 million a year. The rest of that money is deferred until after his contract, their 10-year contract, is over. What I want to see happen here with this is that I legit just want to see the idea of the salary cap gone. Like, I do not think that a salary cap is good for baseball. However, I think that the salary floor is a good idea. I think that the salary floor, to make sure that teams have to spend an amount of money here on players instead of just hoarding it all to themselves here, that is going to be the way that we get more better competitive baseball here, because now you're not going to be able to have direct tanking. And the first thought that comes to my mind when I think of this here is, okay, well, we could just give random Joe Schmo a lot of money and then we're good on that front. Yeah, but then you're still spending money on players. You're still getting players for your team. And with how the draft lottery has gone lately, that also slightly defers tanking. Slightly, not fully. Not fully. Just being very clear about that part of it. But yeah, I am nervous just because it definitely feels like these are two very different proposals just on a very basic level. Here, one is an apple, one is an orange. Trying to compare the two of them, it turns bad. It turns bad very, very quickly.
Yeah, the whole salary cap thing is the biggest thing that's going to divide these guys. Because, I mean, the salary cap, that would significantly limit the amount of money that players can make. Obviously, that would be bad for the game, I think, but the salary floor also, though, it's hard though, because what if you end up with teams that, they're not going to meet the floor, and then, they have to sign, like, they have to overpay some guy who's not worth that much money just to meet the floor. Like, I don't want a situation like that. I would have to know what the number is. That's the thing. So yeah.
We do really have a salary cap in baseball. It's a soft salary cap called the luxury tax.
Yeah, I was going to say,
your team plays in this pool with the Dodgers every year. And, it's not as convoluted as like the second apron in the NBA.
I was going to say,
like, instead of a true hard cap, like the NHL, NBA, technically the NBA does have a hard cap, I believe. So you can't spend like thousands of,
in theory, yes.
So they just have so many penalties that it ends up acting like a soft cap. But the NHL has a hard cap. The NFL has a hard cap. The Major League Baseball, instead of instituting a hard cap, can say, all right, we're going to enforce stricter penalties in the luxury tax. And again, that number is going to vary over time. Like the NFL salary cap increases over time. The NBA salary cap increases over time. Major League Baseball would be no different. It would increase over time. So I'm less worried about that. And again, these proposals are the first things out of these people's mouths, right? It's not, you're not asking for a middle ground immediately. Imagine if Tarek Skubal said, all right, you filed for $20 million. I'm going to file for $20,001. That would be really stupid. He's going to file for 37 million or whatever, 32 million, whatever he filed for. So they're intentionally far apart. So you have some ground to concede. You can say, all right, I want this. And the MLBPA and the owners, they have some things that they're maybe, I'm going to just throw out random numbers here. that salary cap, say it's $100 million. I know that's not real, but $100 million. Well, maybe the owners are like, okay, we'll bump it to 120 if, we cut around to the draft, right? That it's not exactly 1-for-1 trade like that, but there are, concessions both sides will be willing to make over the next few months and into the off season that you're not going to make right now, because right now you're just going to, if the owner said, all right, the salary cap, we're going to quadruple it so it doesn't affect anyone and it's pointless. Well, that would be great for everyone. So the owners obviously aren't going to do that today, but maybe in 5 months they'll say, all right, we'll increase it by 50 million, or we'll increase the penalties instead of making a hard cap, or we'll, you're eligible after your freshman year of college, or we'll keep high schoolers and it's 15 rounds or whatever. These little nuancy changes. So I think that's the important thing, that these are, the goalposts are as far apart as they will be. There's not, the owners aren't going to go further in one direction. The players aren't going to go further in the opposite direction. Everything else is going to be in between, whether that ends up being a 70-30 or 80-20 or 199, I don't know, but it will be in that, in that middle area after these proposals.
The one problem I do have, because yes, that's how negotiation works. The one problem, though, I have with it is that there is still very much if there's too much ground to cover, that neither side feels good getting to that middle ground, that's where you start to have issues. And right now, what I see on this is I see a lot of ground to make up. That doesn't mean that's not going to happen. Obviously, we want it to happen. We want something to come together here because we don't want to lose any baseball. But at the same time, again, just take this from with a grain of salt here. I've watched enough Pawn Stars. I've watched enough other shows here that the negotiations, you can start that high, but if it's just clear that there's no middle ground to work with, you're going to have issues and you're going to lose your credibility very, very quickly if you go way too high. Like saying the Tarek Skubal stuff here, you're not going to file for $20 million and $1, but you're also not going to file for $125 million. If you do that, you're just going to get laughed out of the room.
I don't know. I wonder how high Skubal and Boris could have gone.
That would have been, honestly, if they had said that, I would have laughed my absolute butt off. That
$50 million right now.
So I need you to give me everything you own and the pants off of your legs.
We will own, it'll be called Skubal Park from now on. All the tiger statues will be replaced by Tarek Skubal statues. And then he leaves
every single one. Yeah.
He leaves exactly.
Yeah, and then he signs some Dodgers or something. Yeah.
That would be funny. Anyway, let us know what you guys think here. What do you think is going to be the main clinching point here with this new CBA? Do you think it's going to be the salary cap? Do you think it's going to be the potential of the high school players not being in the draft here? Let us know what you think here on YouTube. Leave us a comment here, Losses Above Replacements, or on Twitter here at LAR_baseball. But now it is time for the question of the day. And today's question of the day is brought to you by Splash.
Yeah, this is a quick one, fellas. You're throwing these items. Which one do you think you can throw the farthest? A baguette or a non-bread?
Oh, I'm throwing a baguette way further, I think.
Okay, can you do me a quick favor here? Can you pull up just a picture of the non-bread?
Yes.
Here, because I need to make, a lot goes into it. Here, right? I remember I saw a video of someone doing the same thing here. What could you throw further, a watermelon or a grape? And it was surprisingly close. But that's just how aerodynamics.
Right. You got to look at the shape here, though. I think baguette goes way further.
No, it's definitely the non-bread then.
What?
Yeah, because you throw it like a frisbee, whereas the baguette.
That is true. You can throw it like a frisbee. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely throwing the non-bread farther. Easy, not a question.
Okay, so when you're throwing the baguette, do you throw it like a football or do you throw it like a javelin?
I feel like you have to throw it like a
javelin.
Yeah. Okay. But it could depend on the size of the baguette, of course.
I legitimately would love to test this, obviously.
LARHQ, baby.
LARHQ, let's go.
Subscribe so we can pay rent.
Please, yeah, that'd be great. We love that. We don't have a Patreon yet, But no, yeah. Anyway, for me, honestly, I have actually thrown javelin when I was doing track and field back in junior high here. Not like obviously a real pointed javelin, but a close equivalent. I can definitely throw a frisbee farther than a javelin. It's not even remote.
I've never thrown a javelin, so I wouldn't know.
Hey, I threw them all the time in Mario and Sonic at the Summer Olympic Games.
Yeah, exactly.
True, exactly.
Put me on with realistic. Vector. That boy is flying.
Oh, true, absolutely. Bro, I've done actual pulling for ultimate frisbee. Like, I can chuck that sucker pretty good. I don't know about you guys. I may not have a whole lot of velo on my fastball, but man, I can throw a frisbee pretty darn far. Anyway, one of my favorite activities, one of my favorite celebrations of the summer is the Home Run Derby. The Home Run Derby, I think, is a lot of people's favorite because it's just fun. Because people love the idea of watch guy hit ball really far a lot of times. And great thing this year, we're getting rid of the timer. They finally got rid of the timer, and now it is going back to, I believe it's the swings system.
Correct.
Swings. I wish it was the out system, but you know what? Beggars can't be choosers.
Yep.
And they're essentially the same. You can, if you hit a home run on your last swing, you can keep swinging. So that's very similar to the. You remember when it would be like sponsored by T-Mobile and it'd be a pink ball, or sponsored by State Farm and it'd be a red ball. So it's very similar to that. So if you have 19 swings and you've hit 0 home runs, and then you hit a home run, you could hit another one and 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 another one. I wonder how many times I could do that before Alex cuts me off. And another one and another one.
And another anyway, so. But no, yeah, I love the fact that we're getting rid of the timer. The timer was just bad. Like I'm
just, I didn't love it.
I understand the reasoning for it. Execution was pretty poor. But overall, I'm bringing up the Home Run Derby because while none have been fully announced yet, I thought it'd be fun. We thought it'd be fun if we did a draft. We drafted our ideal Home Run Derby participants here for this because why not here? So, fellas, you guys want to describe a little bit how we're going to go along with this, because it feels pretty self-explanatory to me.
Yeah, I mean, so basically, yeah, we're gonna do what's it called? Yeah, we I can't. Oh, we haven't said the order yet, boys. It's fine. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, we're gonna take 5 players each, who we think will be in the Home Run Derby or who we would pick to be in the Home Run Derby. And then it's gonna be similar to what we did. We did this with the all-star pitchers, and we did this with trades in the past. We will award ourselves points based on how many actually get picked. I forget the exact I believe it's 8 contestants.
So yeah. Question.
Yeah.
Are we doing it based on how many, like, if a player is picked, say if we had Jazz Chisholm last year, but he hits 3 home runs, that is the same number of points as picking Cal, who won Cal won, correct?
Cal won, yes.
Okay, so those would count as the same, or do we want to do like a tiered system, or how many homers they actually hit? Because I think how many homers they actually hit, that would also reduce ties.
That could be a tiebreaker. I mean,
yeah, I think that would be a good tiebreaker.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fair enough then. And so we're just going to each pick 8, I guess, for this. So yeah, that was a good time. Or just 5.
We can do 5.
I'm down with either, because it's just going to come down to, we don't even know if these guys are going to be in the Derby.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah. So,
the reason why I thought of this is that normally, we have 3, so we're 3 weeks away from the Derby, and normally around this time of year we start getting, or it's normally this is normally how far out we are from the Derby when we start getting people declaring for the Derby.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All right. So how are we going to determine le order?
This is excellent podcasting.
We have definitely planned out everything. Okay.
I'll do random.org real quick.
I was going to grab dice, but okay.
Hey, I would love to be sponsored. This is a great website. I use it regularly.
Random.org is awesome.
List randomizer. Okay. Alex, congratulations. Mac, congratulations. Splash, randomize. The order is Splash, Mac, Alex. So I do not have to change the graphic. Great.
Actually, yeah, we take those.
I can confirm it's here.
And yep, tracks.
Okay.
And
Baseball,
then it's gonna be snake draft then.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. All right, then I guess Splash, lead us off.
Oh, okay, wonderful. Kyle Schwarber. I mean, this is duh. Yeah. Like, come on now. Yeah. This has to be the number one pick. He's at home. He's going to hit 60 home runs this season. It's just screaming obvious. I probably should not delete that tab. My bad. It's just blatantly obvious he will be in the Derby.
Yeah.
So there you go.
I think that's the easiest pick you could have made. Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pick 1-1 of the draft. Shohei Ohtani.
I don't think he'll be in the Derby. Hot take.
Yeah, no fair.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I think it's fair that I would also take a hometown guy. So I'm going to take Bryce Harper. I think he's been holding off on doing it for a while, and I think this is going to be the Derby. If Schwarber's not in it, Harper will do it. If Harper's not in it, Schwarber will do it. So I'm going to take Harper.
Okay. I'm going to go a little bit of an oddball pick here, but he still hit a ton of home runs here, and that is going to be one Mr. Rice baby, Ben Rice.
Mm-hmm.
Guy already on the season has 22 home runs. He's a young guy that could just want to have a little bit of fun out there. Plus, when was the last time that a Yankee won the Derby?
Judge in 2017.
2017,
yeah. So
yep.
It was a minute ago then. So I think that would be
fun. It was not Jazz last year.
It was definitely not Jazz.
I can confirm with my own eyes. Yes, it was not.
True. Oh my gosh, that was painful to watch. All right, I'll go to my next one here, and I'm going to go with a name that I think legitimately he's going to be in the Derby because he has been on such a roll of late. I'm going to go with Brandon Lau.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Lau has had a huge resurgence offensively this year, and I think teams are going to pick up on that here. So, he's already got 18 on the year. It'd be fun to see it.
Mac, don't you dare do it. Don't you dare.
I think we're thinking the same thing. All right, I'm going to probably break Splash's heart here. I'm taking Big Amish.
No! I knew it was coming.
Here's the thing is that not only is Big Amish, Kurtz is tearing the cover off the ball, but he also grew up in Pennsylvania and was a Phillies fan, so it makes too much sense for him to be in the Derby. So it's a slam dunk, I think.
All right, that puts me in a predicament. There are some guys who have said they're not going to do the Derby. Yordan Alvarez said he's not going to do it. There are some players that are hurt.
Unfortunate.
I guess you could choose them if you'd like. I'll just list off the Murakamis of the world, Mike Trouts of the world. I think you need to have some sort of foil, and there is no greater foil in a home run derby than Pete Alonso at Citizens Bank Park. That's a long time Met. He's having a pretty solid season. We talked about it last week that he's arguably better than Vlad this year. Definitely better than Vlad this year. Arguably more deserving an all-star game nod than Vlad. So I will go with Mr. Polar Bear trying to get his crown back in the Derby.
I wonder if he'll actually do it this year, because I know that last year he said it was like the first time he finally got to enjoy the days off. And he's also said in the past, if he isn't in the All-Star game, he doesn't want to do it. So, I mean,
fair.
I don't know if he'll make the All-Star game, but if he does, I wouldn't be surprised if he decides to do it this year.
It legitimately feels like Pete Alonso was born to be in the home run derby.
Yeah.
That is the time. That is the time when he, as the kids say, locks the heck in.
Fair. All right. I'm going to go to a guy. He's likely to be an all-star this year. Big bopper. It's really a shame his shortstop partner is a criminal. Junior Caminero. I think he
home run derby runner-up last year.
Yes, was in the derby last year. Let's go grab the dub this year, buddy.
All right. So obviously, I'm going to preface this with saying I would have taken Mike Trout. Unfortunately, the injury kind of puts a crimp into that. He's from the Philly area. He grew up a Phillies fan, just like Big Amish. I'm going to go with a guy who is just on a ridiculous rampage right now, right up there with Big Amish. I'm going Jack Caglione. Coming into the year, we knew he was a hard hitter, but he hadn't really proven himself as a player but he's tearing the cover off the ball in June. And I think he's going to ride that right into the Derby. He hits the ball very far. So he's a guy, honestly, I could see winning this thing.
Fair enough. Here, absolutely. Yeah, I'm not scared to take. I'm taking Trout. Like they're saying with his injury that it's just a hamstring strain here on it, according to MLB.com.
Strains can take a while though.
They can, but he said that he is hopeful that he will be ready by the Midsummer Classic. And you know what? Why not? Just
it's also
this guy's having an amazing resurgence season. Yeah, and he's a Philly guy, like you were saying. So he's gonna absolutely get cheered there when he steps up and hits 14,000 home runs.
All right. Alex, the double tap.
All right, roll into it.
All right, back into me. I really wanted to take Murakami because of everything, because I love him very much here. But again, this is the one injury that I'm gonna be like, okay, yeah, maybe not. So I'm gonna go with another guy that was in the Derby last year, and I'm gonna go with one Mr. James Wood. James Wood hits a lot of home runs. He's very good at hitting those exact home runs.
Yes, he does.
So why not put Mr. Home Run Hitter into the Home Run Derby?
Okay. He was on my short list.
Yeah, I was gonna say he was on my big board too.
Sure.
I'm gonna, I'm gonna do a weird one here, and I feel like we have one every season where it's like this guy isn't necessarily a power hitter, but he gets into the Derby because he's got a big following and everything. I'm gonna take PCA.
He was on my list.
PCA is not necessarily a slugger, but he goes out there. He's posting this year. He's on a roll. I think he's just the type of guy who would really embrace doing the Derby.
All right, that'll make my job a little bit easier. For my double tap, I will take a player who has been on an absolute rampage of late. I will take Byron Buxton. Yeah. It'd be nice to see my guy in a Derby. Not as big of a heel as Alonso, but he is from the Atlanta area, so there's that to factor in. And I am actually going to go. I'm going to go a little off the rails here. I'm going to take a rookie. He has also been tearing the cover off the ball. That is to XYZ Ballin's great acclaim, Bryce Eldridge. He hits Titanic taters. Maybe he's not a big enough name at this point to justify the number 5 pick, but if there's some West Coast representation, I think Eldridge is a decent shout. Just to hit homers and watch them fly a long way.
Yeah, nope, that absolutely tracks. I get that. All right, Mac.
Yeah, so last pick. This.
Are we stopping at 5?
I'm okay. Let's stop at 5. Yeah.
Darn, I would have made a different choice then.
If you want to, you can go ahead and make a different choice.
I would like to take a Brave here. Give me not Matt Olson. It'll be Michael Harris.
I was considering Olson.
Olson's done it before.
Did it last year?
Yeah, did it last year. I think Harris is having a huge season. I think he'll be an all-star, and I think if Alonso's not going to do it, I think Harris is a perfectly reasonable Brave selection. I think you have to have a Brave. You either have to have a Brave or a Met, and with all due respect to the Mets, they kind of stink unless they're playing Spencer Strider. Now, if Spencer Strider gets out on the mound and throws, BP, you can put Bo Bichette or Soto, even injured Soto, or injured Francisco Lindor, although he's back today. You could throw any of them out there, frankly, but I'll take Harris and be a homer.
Yeah, so I considered putting a Brave in there. But I'm going to go different direction here. I think this guy deserves it. I'm going Jordan Walker. Real bounce back season for him. He's another guy. He tears the cover off the ball. And he's finally playing like the guy we thought he'd be when he was a rookie in 2023. So I think he has all the tools here. And I think, again, kind of honestly, he could be like Caminero last year. Really show off his power in the Derby and make the final.
Yep. I absolutely see that. So, you know what? I'm just going to have fun with my last pick. Is he going to be in the Derby? Probably not, but I would absolutely just love to see him in the Derby. He does have 14 homers on the season, so not a ton. It's not completely out of left field. He does play a little bit of left field at times, but that is my big bunt son, Luke Raley, being in the Derby. Luke Raley is one of the strongest individuals I have ever seen. The guy has abnormal strength, and with a big left-handed power swing, that guy hits home runs that are as majestic as anybody else's. One of the reasons why he doesn't have more, he's not playing every day like he should be. They won't let him face off against lefties for whatever reason. He's been one of your best consistent hitters. Like, Julio's already said more than likely will not be doing another Derby. So let's go with the next best power hitter that's not him. And Cal has had, 2-3 homers on the season? I think this would be fun for like another random following guy that everyone's like, who the heck is this guy? And then he just goes on and puts on an absolute moon show during the Derby. Luke Raley, I think, would be so much fun to see in the Derby.
Yeah, I'll be honest. The Mariner I had on my radar was Colt Emerson. But I can definitely see Luke Raley. The Mariners actually have a few boppers that were on my list. Luke Raley, yeah, he can. When he lays into one, I feel like not a lot of people know it, but he has a lot of power.
He is my big bunt son. He has a lot of power, and he can also bunt for base hits, and I love him. He also hustles on every play, which makes me love him even more. Luke Raley is legitimately probably in my top 2-3 Seattle Mariners right now. Fan-wise, I should say.
It'd be like that. Yeah, any players you want to discuss? Because I was thinking O'Neal Cruz. He was in it last year.
Yeah, I considered Cruz. Ellie. Well, again, Ellie coming back from an injury. Mm-hmm. And to your point, Cal Raleigh is the defending champion, but again, with the injury, he's not going to do it this year. Unfortunately, I would love to see him defend his crown. It's just I don't think it'd be wise for him to do it. Who knows? Maybe it could help him get back on track, but I think that would be too risky. Byron Buxton was another guy on my list. And yeah, I really don't. It's tough because I want to see Shohei Ohtani do it. It won't happen. Yeah.
I wanted to. Shea Langoliers. And,
I thought about drafting them.
So I thought about those guys
also.
I don't know if another catcher wants to do it. I know Cal won last year, but I don't know if you're a catcher if you want to take 40 hacks. So. There's that.
It's going to feel better now there's not a timer, though, I will say. That's
true, but you're still taking
a lot of hacks, yeah.
Like mega hacks here, especially if you're hitting a bunch of homers.
Another name that I was thinking of here was Zach Neto. Neto has a bunch of homers here. And
Neto does have power,
it would be some nice representation for the Angels if Mike Trout can't do it. Here, although I will say it will be really funny if they say, we have an Angel in the home run derby, Zach Neto.
Or Jorge Soler.
Jorge Soler, man, he got power.
Soler would be a lot of fun.
Walt Weiss tackling him.
Idea for like a later time. We should make our own less than 20 home runs currently draft of guys that we'd want to see in a derby that have less than 20 home runs right now.
Fernando Tatis, Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
Exactly. Yeah.
Tatis homer the other day or yesterday. What?
I mean, the fact that
I'm going to talk about that in a minute.
The fact that he was tied with Chandler Simpson on home runs was still going to blow my mind forever.
Like Nick Allen hit a homer before Fernando Tatis did.
Jeez.
That's kind of hard to believe.
That's insane to think.
All right. Well, here's our list. I'll go through it for any of the audio listeners who can't see it. I picked Kyle Schwarber, Pete Alonso, Junior Caminero, Byron Buxton, and Michael Harris II. Mac picked Bryce Harper, Nick Kurtz, Jack Caglione, Pete Crow Armstrong, and Jordan Walker. And Alex took Ben Rice, Brandon Lau, Mike Trout, James Wood, and Luke Raley.
Look, do I think Luke Raley is going to make the Derby? No. Do I want to see him in the Derby with every fiber of my being? Oh, hell yeah. But let us know, who do you want to see in the Derby? Who's an oddball pick that you want to see in this year's Home Run Derby? Let us know here either on the live stream. Again, we live stream our podcast before putting them up on Spotify and all that fun stuff here. So make sure to leave us a comment here who you think should be in the Home Run Derby this year. But with that being said, it is time for everyone's favorite segment. It is trivia time. That hopefully another Derby that does not involve Jazz Chisholm. Thank you, Double Bass. here.
Oh.
For trivia, I'm going to go to last week's winner, one Mr. Matthias Omakurasaki. All right. I'm handing off to you.
All right. Well, we were talking about the draft earlier, so we're going to do a very basic trivia segment here. I'm going to give you a player, and you're going to tell me what team drafted him. Because if you wouldn't believe it, some of it can be kind of difficult. There are a lot of guys who became superstars with teams that did not draft them, maybe after a trade or maybe after, they got non-tendered or something like that. So, I need you guys to determine that. I have 9 players, and I do have a tiebreaker. So you guys each give me a number between 1 and 40.
24.
23.
All right. The correct answer was 14. So, Splash, do you want to go first?
Sure. Pass the rock to me.
All right. Your first player, Jacob deGrom. Who drafted him?
Jacob deGrom was a Mets draft pick out of Stetson.
That is correct. Stetson Hatters. He was a shortstop and a right-handed pitcher. He got Tommy John surgery right around when he got drafted. So that's correct. All right, Alex. This should be a layup for you. I started with the layups here. Ken Griffey Jr.
Oh, yeah. He was drafted by my Seattle Mariners.
That's correct. First overall in the draft. I was hoping you would get that.
If I didn't get that, I would just have to retire from the podcast.
Yeah, much like the Fitness Gram Pacer test, this starts slow, but then gets harder each time you hear a sound or something. Because I gave you guys layups to start the draft.
And to be clear, this is, I mean, I guess it's your list, but it's guys who they signed with that team.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
So I'm not going to throw you any curveballs like a guy who got drafted by a team once in high school and then didn't sign and then got drafted.
Or Quinn Matthews, actually.
What?
Wilson.
Yeah, Quinn Matthews.
Yeah, Quinn Matthews. Yeah.
And when I popped him up, he was drafted by the Rays in 22 and then the Cardinals in 23.
Yeah. All right. So moving on, Splash. Your player is Trey Turner. Team drafted him.
All right. He was an AJ Preller draft pick with the San Diego Padres.
Correct. Traded before he could even play a game for them. Traded to the Nationals in a really just ridiculous 3-team trade. What was the point of that? To get Will Myers from the Rays, they traded Trey Turner to the Nationals for some reason. Great process.
Will Myers is a great hitter, man. Obviously,
one of them won Myers here, one of them didn't. So
yeah, Will Myers did make the All-Star game and the Home Run Derby for the Padres at Petco Park. And yes, he did win Rookie of the Year. To your point. All right, Alex, your player, another guy involved in a 3-team trade at some point, Max Scherzer.
Oh. Here's the thing. Legitimately, when you brought up the idea of this trivia, Scherzer was a name that came to my mind immediately, and I don't know why. I don't remember I know he was part of a trade. I don't remember if this is the team that originally drafted him, though. I'm going to go with Arizona.
That is correct.
Let's go.
The Arizona Diamondbacks drafted him in the first round out of Missouri, traded him in a 3-team deal. They ended up getting, I believe, Ian Kennedy and Edwin Jackson in that deal for various teams. And then, I know that the Yankees got Curtis Granderson, Tigers got Scherzer. I think it worked out well. I know
that Scherzer made his major league debut with the Diamondbacks. I just was not sure if that was the team that drafted him initially.
And set a record for strikeouts as reliever, right? Something like that.
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, when he first came up, people did think he was going to be a reliever. Did all right as a starter, I'd say.
I think he's all right.
He's okay.
All right, going back to an active guy here. Well, I guess Scherzer's technically active still. A bit of a younger guy, Splash, and maybe Alex is more familiar with him. Josh Naylor.
Ooh.
What team drafted Josh Naylor?
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Big Grumper.
I'm torn. I think Cleveland's like the obvious, but I think he played in an organization before Cleveland. I'm gonna say Arizona.
Oof, that is incorrect.
Tough.
He was drafted by the Miami Marlins.
Yeah.
12th overall pick, and then traded with Carter Capps, Luis Castillo, and Jared Cosart to the Padres for Andrew Cashner, Tywin Guerrero, and Colin Rea. Of course, infamously, Colin Rea had a medical problem, and he got swapped back for Luis Castillo. And then the Marlins traded Castillo again. But yeah, then the Padres traded him to Cleveland in 2020.
Okay, I was gonna. Padres was my second guess. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I believe he debuted with San Diego, but obviously he's best known with Cleveland, and probably at this point next best known with Seattle, even though he was pretty good with the Diamondbacks for a brief period of time. All right, back to you, Alex. You have a chance to take a lead here with the guy, again, you're probably familiar with him, Randy Johnson. What team drafted him?
He was drafted by the... Are we really going to say he was drafted by the Montreal Expos?
That is correct. He was drafted by the Montreal Expos in the second round in 1985 out of USC. Obviously traded for Mark Langston. I
wonder how that trade worked out.
I mean, I guess it did all right. I mean,
I hear he's pretty good. But he needed to talk to Nolan Ryan to even be any good.
Yeah, so who knows? All right, Splash, back to you, and I'm expecting you to get this one. Jason Hayward. The team drafted him.
I would hope the Atlanta Braves, or I might have to revoke my Braves card.
Yes, Jason Hayward was drafted by the Atlanta Braves.
I got every emotion hit me at the same time. It's like...
I saw your eyes widen, and I was like, "Oh."
He's a local guy. I know he was born in Ridgewood, New Jersey, but he is from Georgia. So yes, he was drafted by the Braves. All right, Alex, back to you. Your player, Kyle Schwarber. What team drafted him?
Was he a Cubs draft pick? I'm going to say the Chicago Cubs.
Correct. 4th overall pick as a catcher.
Yeah,
out of IU by the Cubs.
Babe Ruth, baby, right there.
Yes, he and my brother overlapped at Indiana. My brother says he did meet him a couple times. Kyle Schwarber by the Cubs. Can you believe the Cubs non-tendered him because of a 60-game season?
It's just another example of the Cubs making amazing decisions.
Yeah. All right.
He did win a World Series with them, so it's okay.
It did, in fact.
Yes. So Splash, you can tie it up here, which would send it to a tiebreaker.
Well, then I would have an extra one to go, because I'm perfect.
Oh yeah. You're right. Sorry. Yeah, I'm bad at math.
No, you're
good. Your player is Marcus Semien. What team drafted?
Okay. I am going to pull Chicago White Sox.
That is correct. He was drafted by the White Sox. Obviously rose to prominence in Oakland after getting traded in the Jeff Samardzija deal.
That's right, Shark.
That's what it was. Okay.
At Notre Dame wide receiver.
Notre Dame wide receiver. Yes. All right, Alex, your last one, and this is going to be pretty difficult, I think.
It's for the win, yeah.
Yes. If not, we will go to a tiebreaker. But this guy, Mark Canha. Noted cook these days. What team drafted him?
This is honestly kind of weird. Like, I feel like there's an obvious answer here, and that's what I'm slightly worried about. I'm going to say he was drafted by the Athletics.
Oh, that is incorrect.
Did I say a second team just because I don't know why this team can't do it? Milwaukee?
No, but you had like some letters right. He was actually drafted by the Marlins, if you wouldn't believe
Really?
it.
Okay.
So Canha was actually a Rule 5 pick by the A's. Wow. So yeah, he was drafted by the Marlins. He got left unprotected, actually taking the Rule 5 draft by the Rockies, and then the A's swung a trade that same day for him. So all right, so we're gonna go to the tiebreaker. Right. And the way we're going to do this is, like usual, I will tell you the player, and then you guys will both either message me on Discord or just text me the team you think drafted him. So,
all right.
The tiebreaker is Edwin Jackson. What team drafted him?
He's always the tiebreaker.
I think I know this. I made when I was in school, college, I did a project on him. I hope this is the correct answer. I hope it is, because if it's not, that would be embarrassing. I'm having second thoughts. Okay, I sent my answer.
I do not know at all. I am throwing a dart at the board.
Well, I do have one correct answer here.
Oh god.
The correct answer is the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Yes.
Yes. Edwin Jackson. Actually, so Alex's answer was the Phillies. Edwin Jackson never played for the Phillies, but Edwin Jackson, yes, the German-born, Georgia-raised righty journeyman, drafted in the 6th round out of high school in Columbus, Georgia, by the Dodgers.
I was about to say Atlanta and was gonna freak out.
He's a journeyman, like I was saying. He did make an All-Star game and throw a no-hitter, played for 14 teams, but yes, he started his professional career with the Dodgers and debuted with them. So congrats, Splash. You will get to be trivia host next week.
GG,
I knew that he never played with the Phillies. I thought that this was going to be a trick question because it was going to be one of the teams that he ironically never played for. So I had to I just took a gamble.
I'm not going to blame you for that thought process.
The fact that I have lead at all in this game is more shocking than anything. So I'll take that.
And I was going to say Atlanta because I didn't remember if he was from Georgia. I knew he was born in Germany, but I didn't remember if he was from Georgia or just got drafted by the Braves to start. But GG's. Shall we run the Bid McPhee game back next week?
If you want to, man, I'm leaving
it. The what game?
The Bid McPhee game.
Bid McPhee. Oh yeah. I'm not going to say no.
I will say though, like I had an idea for. I'll use this probably later, but the whole joke of it was that I was going to give you guys hints that were all the exact same hint every question. Yeah, and it was just going to be made purely to anger you.
Okay.
So I might use that later. We'll see.
Maybe I should have sold this. I don't know.
Maybe, I don't know. But anyway, thank you for that, Mac. That's all, as always, a fun trivia segment brought to us by you. But now it is time for the moment to ourselves, where we take a moment to talk about anything that's on our mind. It does not have to be baseball related, but it absolutely can be. Splash, you have your hand up. You can go first. I will count you down. Here, 3, 2, 1, begin.
So perhaps the medium for this is actually a full-length YouTube video rather than my time to myself. But the Atlanta Braves are concerning me. The pitching is not. There's 1.5 starters I trust. Let me put it that way. I trust Chris Sale. I think Chris Sale, like game 1 starter of a playoff series, absolutely. Who's starting game 2? As of right now, it's Martin Perez. Genuinely, as of right now, it's Martin Perez, and that is shocking. Now, Perez is crafty lefty, gets a lot of weak contact. I appreciate what Martin Perez is doing for the Atlanta Braves. I appreciate it loads and loads because, Strider down with injury. Bryce Elder regression has hit him, and Bryce Elder is not, as bad as he was on Sunday. That said, it leaves a lot to be desired. I don't exactly want to watch him pitch against the Philadelphia Phillies, for example, or Los Angeles Dodgers. Spencer Schwellenbach is still hurt. He's not, in his rehab yet. AJ Smith-Shawver started his rehab this week. Hurston Waldrop is in Gwinnett. Didier Fuentes, maybe you stretch him back out, but I really don't know with the pitching staff. And the bullpen's unbelievable. And yesterday was unfortunate that Suarez was unavailable. I don't know why you didn't pitch Fuentes. I don't know why you didn't pitch Lee there just to start the inning. But you leave Carrasco in to face Tatis, and Tatis takes him 400 feet. It's like, whoop-de-doo, you blew the lead. And then, Iglesias, quote-unquote, blows it in the 10th. It's first pitch, Machado singles, a game over. It's like, okay, that you lost because of the extra inning rules. You didn't lose because you're a bad pitcher or anything. So just an unfortunate loss there, but so the bullpen's great. The starting pitching genuinely worries me, and the hitting core has just not played particularly well. Olsen's been good. Harris has been good. Ozzie has been fine. If he's above average, it works. The power is great. The vibes are great. He's great. Baldwin is like 1 for his last 26 since he hit a tank in his first. Hit the longest home run of the season. I think is 1 for 26 since. Not ideal. Maybe a little bit better than what you were getting from Sandy Leone, but Baldwin, it's just unfortunate because you got such little production out of the catchers, out of Leone and Trump and Austin Wynns and Jonah Heim, other than one game in Colorado, basically. And Murphy was bad, and then he got injured again. And Patrick Bailey, Joey Bart got hit today, has not been particularly good. So you're stuck because Baldwin's the best of the bunch, and he's arguably been the best catcher in baseball this season. He's just stunk since coming back. I don't know what the deal is with Austin Riley. You have a long time on that contract. You know, we're the Braves are playing in San Diego, and there's complaints about Machado and Tatis and Bogarts with those deals. Austin Riley is no different than those deals, and at least Machado homered in Game 1 and Tatis homered in Game 2. So there's that. And Machado drove in the winning run last night. And the outfield, Yaz underperformed. Mauricio Dubon, throw him into the good group. He might have a 100 OPS plus or 94 by the end of the season. He is unbelievable defensively. He can play every position on the diamond. He's great. Harris, like I said, is great. Eli White made a couple of spectacular plays to win the Mizorowski game. But Dom Smith, I like the contact first approach, but he swings at so many pitches out of the strike zone. And he just slaps it to the shortstop, right? Or slaps it to the third baseman, or like a lazy fly ball. And sometimes the lazy fly ball is good, and he's great at moving the runner over, and he's great at sac flies and like those, softer skills. But the at bats end up being more Luis Arraez than I like. At least when Harris swings the bat, he swings it with authority, and Dom is just trying to flick balls the other way. And that's a time. There's a time and a place, and it's kind of driving me up the walls right now. Shout out to Jerkson Profar. You're still a moron. Selfish. Come on. So the Braves are concerning me. I don't know if they blow the division. They're up 5.5 games, which is actually the smallest lead in the National League now. I will say, I've lost my confidence in, if you restarted the season from today, I would pick the Phillies to win the division. They have just so much pitching. And yes, the lineup is inconsistent outside of the Harper, Schwarber. Brandon Marsh has been great this season. Turner's going to get it going, but 5 through 9 in that lineup is not particularly scary. But having Sanchez and Wheeler going at ace level, and then Jesus Luzardo, as long as no one's on base, he's unbelievable. As soon as someone gets on base, he poops his pants. So, and then they have Duran at the end. So the bullpen's not as good as Atlanta or not as good as San Diego, but you have the hammer at the end. So if you get to the 9th inning with the lead, Duran's going to close it out. Getting there is going to be tougher, but the pitching is so good, and they get to it so often. So I have my concerns. I
absolutely get it.
The Braves have the worst. They're the lowest scoring team in baseball this month. It's not like they're 22nd and just in a rut. They're just the worst. And Acuna's going to be out at least until the All-Star break, if not longer. So that stinks. Harris is always dealing with back tightness, and Baldwin, I don't know. You can't really sit Baldwin because I don't want to see Joey Bart take 6 plate appearances a game, but I don't know what you do. Hey, okay. I will say Joey Bart, Atlanta native. He is better than...
Went to Georgia Tech.
Yes,
also.
He's better than Sandy Leone. Sandy Leone, I appreciate throwing out a couple runners and challenging a couple calls. Some of the worst at-bats I've ever seen.
Yeah, no, I absolutely get it. All right, Mac, would you like to go next?
Yes, I would.
All right, sounds good. Your time begins in 3, 2, 1, begin.
I'm just going to address the elephant in the room with my baseball team. The Mets starting rotation is a disaster. I'm going to be straight up. I've really tried not to talk about the Mets much this year because it's kind of hard to. They get an F right now. Nolan McLean even, had a blow-up outing. He's had multiple blow-up outings. You got Freddie Peralta not pitching like Freddie Peralta. Clay Holmes is injured. All right, Clay Holmes and Christian Scott getting injured are honestly, they could be the 2 biggest blows right now to the roster because Clay Holmes was the most consistent starter on the roster. He gets, fractured fibula on a line drive off his leg. That's just unfortunate. It feels like we run into this every single year with the Mets. They are touted as having so much pitching depth. then somehow 3 guys get injured, and all of a sudden that depth is worn thin. And you know what? I'm not going to completely blame, David Stearns for this, because I think that would be unfair. David Stearns is not the guy who injured those guys. David Stearns is also not the guy who's on the field. And look, I don't think he built a perfect roster, but you got to remember, him and Carlos Mendoza are not on the field. So yeah, the players are not performing to expectations, but the starting pitching staff, is just getting lit up right now. Players have like a close to a 900 OPS or something against them the last turn through the rotation. The staff as a whole has given up 46 runs in their last 5 games. And we're still in the 7th inning of tonight's nightcap. This is just a mess, if I'm being honest. And I mean, it feels like they've hit rock bottom like a dozen times this year already. If they lose this game, I'm pretty sure they'd be a season high 12 games under 500. So yeah, it's kind of a zoo, really, a circus. And I'm not really sure, are they going to be relevant in a month even? Like they've run out of time to figure out their season. At this point, they lose a couple more games. You are sellers. You are firmly sellers. You're not just on the bubble anymore. You get Francisco Lindor back. Great. Oh, somehow Juan Soto's back tightens up. How does that happen? This is bordering on some like the worst teams I've ever watched. It's not quite 2009 yet. It's definitely up there with 2017 and 2023. Overall, top to bottom, this team is a mess. I give them, 10 days to figure it out before they're like really, really off the deep end.
Yeah, the Mets are in a very weird position right now. And it's weird considering especially how strong the team looked going into this year.
Yeah, it feels like this happens frequently where they have this great team on paper, and this year even like the analytics were going to favor them, and then they just like play like the 62 team. I'm honestly, I might be convinced that they could have a team like the 27 Yankees, and somehow they would end up 10 games under 500. It's just kind of what it is. It's weird because everyone clamored for like them to spend money, but the year they spent the least, they made the NLCS.
Imagine just for a moment how they signed Kyle Tucker.
Yeah, I'm kind of relieved that didn't happen.
Thankfully.
Yeah, instead you signed, Polanco, who's missed the entire season, like besides 2 games.
2 weeks. He played about 2.5 weeks, and then he got hurt during one of their early road trips.
Solid.
Bichette has figured out how to play baseball again. It's just it might have been too late.
All right. He might opt out of the contract, which I guess would bail you out.
Yeah, sure. I don't know if it's a bailout, but maybe.
Maybe. All right, would someone like to count me down?
I got you.
3, 2, 1.
I'm sorry, but Rob Refsnyder needs to go. And I just want to be I'm going to use stats for this because I could talk about my emotion of seeing that he has not been performing and go from there. But I don't feel like that's going to prove my points near as well. I will say, to give him some credit, to start it off with a little bit of credit, he's been hitting the ball harder as of late. Problem is, it's just going right at fielders. So he's not gotten very many hits. What I want to talk about when it comes to Rob Refsnyder is the Mariners' history over the last few years of players that were supposed to be at least somewhat good to play the infield that have not turned out to be as such. And why I'm bringing up these 3 in particular. The first one, Donovan Solano. Donovan Solano was supposed to be a good stopgap first base, maybe a little bit of second base here and there. When he left the Seattle Mariners in 2025, he was at an OPS of 85, which, I mean, that's below average, but that's not the worst ever. But he was playing pretty darn bad. He was not looking good. Once he started to finally figure stuff out, he was then released. Went to play for Texas, and playing for Texas had an OPS plus of negative 100. So, okay, maybe he didn't figure things out. Next one up, Tommy La Stella. Tommy La Stella, another one that was supposed to be an infielder, but he wasn't meant to be, an everyday piece. He was meant to be just kind of he'll fit in every now and again. Yeah. Well, in 2023, playing with Seattle, he had an OPS plus of 54. He was half of an average major league player. And even then, he only played in 12 games. So, that's maybe just it was a problem with sample size. Maybe that was the issue here. Then let's look at Colton Wong. Colton Wong, in his final season with the Seattle Mariners here in 2023, ended with an OPS plus of 35. As the team's starting second baseman, that is atrocious, and he doesn't even get the benefit of doubt with 67 games played under his belt. But I bring that up because somehow Rob Refschneider has been worse than that. And I'm going to bring up a couple stats here. In 47 games, he has already accumulated a negative 0.9 baseball reference WAR and is in the bottom 10 of all qualified hitters in all of Major League Baseball. That's not he's having a bad stretch. No, that's worst in the league. On top of it, his OPS plus, we saw, but you can't get too much worse than Colton Wong. He had a 38, right? 35, 38. Rob Refschneider's right now is a 26. He is a quarter of the production of an average Major League Baseball player in 47 games. And I would not even be talking about this because it's like, okay, yeah, just get rid of it. It's fine. He's not meant to be an everyday player. He's meant to just hit against lefties. One, he's not been hitting against lefties. But this is where the crux of this comes into. Dan Wilson needs to understand that at some point, the stats have to speak. The stats have to speak, and he's not seeing this. By proof of this, he has batted leadoff multiple times this season. If you have I know that batting average isn't everything, right? But if you have a guy whose batting average starts with a 1 as your leadoff man, that is an issue. That is an issue that needs to be addressed. If he's a bench man that just comes off the bench, for one at bat, maybe a game or every other game, that's fine. Like, is it good? No. Do you want that on the team? No. But at least he's not taking away at bats from guys like Colt Emerson or Luke Raley or any of these, or Victor Robles. No, he's been starting a lot of these games here, and the Mariners outfield was hurt enough that he had to start against right-handed hitters. And why are you leading him off? Why are you having him lead off bat against anybody with an OPS that starts with a 2 and there's only 2 digits? Look, I want to give him the benefit of the doubt because the eye test legitimately has been okay. He has been hitting the ball hard. He does not strike out all that often. Like, has he struck out a decent bit? Yeah, but honestly, not as much as I thought. Only 31 times so far this season. My problem comes here with the fact that he is batting this bad and Dan Wilson is still starting him. I understand he's a veteran. You want to give him time to work through things. You are in a Major League Baseball team that at this exact moment is one of 2 teams in the American League with a positive run differential. The other team being the New York Yankees. Every other team in the American League has a negative run differential. This is your division to win, and starting guys like Rob Refschneider is a detriment to that. Dan, I love you. I think you are an amazing human being. Please just make the call.
Yeah, and Dom Canzone hit a home run against the lefty, by the way.
Dom Canzone can hit against lefties.
Exactly.
Luke Raley can hit against lefties.
Yeah, so, I mean, I know that teams are so reliant on platoons these days, but, like, sometimes not every platoon is going to work out the way the 2021 Giants or 2021 Braves worked out. Like, you gotta, you can't always bat Jorge Soler lead off against a lefty, and it work out. Like, I don't know, Rob Ref Snyder and was it Connor Joe earlier this year, like always getting at bats against lefties. Look, nothing against those guys at all. I actually like them as players, but like, it's
I love Connor Joe's story more than anything.
Yeah, no, and I think Connor Joe is a super inspirational story. But yeah, it's I mean, sometimes it's like, all right, I get it, matchups. Sometimes you got to look at the numbers, and they indicate maybe that matchup isn't worth it.
Hey, the Braves actually put Baldwin on the bench for the first time this season. Now he'll probably pinch hit when the Padres go to a righty, but
yeah, he'd pinch hit against Mason Miller if he needed to, or any of their righties.
Oh, that's tough to break a slump with that guy. They did get 2 base runners off him Monday night.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, I want to see him succeed. I want to see Rob Schneider succeed because I have seen him succeed before. Just please get on it if you're going to do it at all. I also just don't want to look at the Mariners score because that was bad. Anyway, what I would like to end off with is a thank you to each and every one of you for coming in here and being part of the live stream. If you were, hey, Eddie, good to hear from you at the very end here. Still appreciate you for at least jumping on in here. But for everyone that has been tuning in, thank you so much to all of you for listening today. Make sure you go follow us on Twitter at LAR_baseball. You can also follow us individually. Me at the Sports Guy 242, Mac at Matthias_A_K, and Splash at Mrs. Splashman 19. But also, we have an Instagram. Go take a look at there. We do some fun stuff there every now and again. Not frequently. We need to do better at that. We know. Also, give us a subscribe on YouTube. It's a good time over there. Plus, you can just see this beautiful face all the time, as well as that beautiful face and that beautiful face. So anyway, thank you so much to everyone for watching. Have a great rest of your day. Stay safe, and I hope to see you all real soon.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy! It's a home run!